There are a few things I don't understand about the Phenex. First of all, why could this thing use its cycle frame to propel itself while the other two cannot? Second of all, why can the beam sabers transform when the arm for the armed armor DEs is on? And third of all, why does it use chrome when there are so many good examples of gloss injection? What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the P-Bandai Real Grade Unicorn Gundam Phenex from Gundam Narrative. Now, this thing does look glamorous in my opinion. I really like the gold chrome. In fact, I might go ahead and say that this is one of the best fully chrome kits out there. I do not know what the Delta Gundam looks like, but the Shiharu Akatsuki, well, the technology doesn't allow them to do this kind of a gold chrome, so I can understand that. But the high grade gold chrome of the Phenex absolutely looks hideous. But this thing, with the higher grade chrome, and also it having a kind of 2-tone, 3 tones of gold, although you cannot really tell because it is fully reflective. This thing just looks absolutely amazing in the chrome. Although I will prefer a gloss injection version, this thing I will definitely settle with. Now, everybody has been worrying about gate placement, and I have to say you do not need to worry too much about it. Most of the parts are undergated, which is very nice. And some of the not undergated parts have their nut marks hidden really well. But there are some pretty damn blatant gates that are left over. First of all, obviously on the shield right here, the armor DEs, they have like a gigantic black spot. And then the shoulder armor over here, you cannot really see that in destroy mode, but in unicorn mode it is pretty damn obvious that there's a black spot right there. Rotated towards the back, and then you do have some of these black spots on the leg armor right there and right up here. But some of these gates are pretty hidden because I think the two T plates actually have yellow underneath it instead of the black, so that can hide it pretty well. Why they did not do this to all of the gold chrome plates, I'm not really too sure, but at least some of the plates have yellow underneath instead of black, so the gates can be hidden pretty well. But this kit does come with a few structural integrity problems. Not really the frame per se, but some of the parts are extremely loose. First of all, the head. I do not know if it is basically my frame that is the problem or some sort like that, but you can easily just knock this thing off. While all the two other unicorns that I have, they do have the same problem, but not as serious as the Phenex. So it does love the guillotine, just like the mobile doll may. So if you do somehow get this thing, be careful with it. Same goes for the waist. It is very back heavy, so the waist tends to rotate on its own when I just grab it on the lower body. So yeah, just keep that in mind. And then of course these side pieces of the feet, these are my bane because after one full transformation they don't have the grip to grip onto this thing. And yeah, what I did to basically fixate them is to add blue tack onto the ball joints that they're connected to. They are fine right now. But when I was messing around with it yesterday, they weren't good at all. So you need to do a little bit of mods, a little bit of careful mods to make this thing stay together. And the build experiences, due to the gold chrome, some parts were way too tight that they're pushing themselves out. So be careful. So everything that is commonplace with the other two Unicorn Gundams I'm not going to cover. So we will skip through the entire articulation section entirely and also the common weapons. So let's just move on to the armor DEs. Now, this arm right here is seen in the perfectibility and translated to the Phenex. Now, this arm unit is actually pretty articulate. First of all, there's a central joint right here. There's a central swivel, and then there's a swivel right here, and a swivel here, and also a rotation right here, and 180 degrees in total. Not that you will rotate the shields to the front, and then you also have a rotation here. So this arm unit is basically very articulate. You can position the armor DEs however you want, but if you are somebody like me who has slight OCD, you will encounter some symmetry issues. And of course, yes, I forgot, the nut marks on the beam sabers. They are absolutely horrendous. But all in all, the articulation of the arms can accommodate for whatever position you want to put the armor DEs on. So you can actually shift them around the body to counteract the weight issues. And of course the tails over here, they are separated into 9 segments, 8 of these scales and 1 tail tip. And they are actually guided by a wire. Now, I did a poor wiring job because there is a little bit of the wire exposed here, but that does give me more flexibility to move the tail pieces around. So that's pretty nice. It just depends on your own liking. And there is excess inside of it, so you can actually feed more of the wire out and give the tails a more length, first of all, and more articulation, more flexibility. So that is what I really do like. Articulation on the Phenex is the same as the Unicorn, but with the added pieces and the tails. So before I transform this thing into Destroy mode, I would like to make a few comparisons. First of all, let's bring in the Narrative Gundam C-Packs High Grade. It isn't really a fair comparison per se, but these two belong together. And let's bring in the other two Unicorns. So first of all, we of course have Unit 1 right here, the white one, which is definitely starting to show its age because it was a chore transforming this thing back to the Unicorn mode from Destroy mode. And next up we have number 2, the Banshee. Now, this is basically a customized Banshee with all of the armored pieces on. And of course, at the center we have the blingy bling Phenex. Which one is your favorite in Unicorn mode? Tell me in the comments below. But for now, I'm going to transform all these 3 back into Destroy mode and show you what the Phenex is capable of. So I'll be back after the transformation. So this is the real great Phenex in Destroy mode, and I have to say it looks okay to see all the armor separated and just subtle hints of blue in there, but that's about it. It doesn't look really the best because it's just subtle. The blue is just too subtle. It doesn't really pop from the armor gas due to the overshadowing of the gold bling from the Phenex. And I have to say, it isn't really as vibrant as I would like it to be because it's just tucked in there. Blue doesn't really shine too much. So, Destroy mode, the aesthetic change is okay. It does, pop a little bit. But to be honest with you, the blue isn't really as vibrant as I'd like it to be. It doesn't really look the best. Not as good as the brother units. So, last but not least, let's bring in all the Gundams that we compared this thing to in the review for one last comparison. So here is the Narrative Gundam C-Packs right here. And then they bring in the Destroy mode of the Unicorn Brothers. Now, the Unicorn Trio has fully been completed. Since the Banshee's cycle frame is just a semi-clear, the cycle frame doesn't lose itself in the darkness. But the Phenex is just a full clear cycle frame, just like the Unicorn, but blue is not as vibrant as pink, so it got lost. So in terms of leftover pieces, first of all, we do have the leftover Unicorn parts. Top of the head, V-fins. Use them if you want to, but I prefer the Phenex's head. Speaking of which, you do have a duplicate of the parts unique to the Phenex's head. Next up, we do have the shield connector, nothing special. Use one of the armored Ds on the arm if you want. And then you do have some of the parts left over from the arms. Now, I do not know if these parts are unique to the perfectibility because I cannot find anywhere that U2 is actually used. U1 is just a duplicate of the central piece, so nothing really too special there. And then, of course, you do have the leftover gold versions of the underside of the top piece of the armored DE. And then you do have the top of the Unicorn head among this gigantic gold plate. Last but not least, another shield connector. Use both of the armored DEs on the arms if you want. Last but not least, you do get 2 sets of the leftover cycle frame used for the Armed Armor XC. So if you want to switch out the cycle frame on your Banshee for these to make it resemble the perfectibility even more with mismatched colors, go ahead. So that's going to wrap it up for the Real Great Phenex review. What do I think of this kit? Well, the appearance is good. I, of course, would want a gold injection because I do not really like the chrome, but the chrome on this thing does look way better than the high grades from what I've saw. And I really like how Bandai took the time to go ahead and make 2 to 3 tones of gold. Not only that, some of the plated pieces actually has yellow plastic underneath. But why the inconsistency, I'm not sure. But I do like how they put in the tones of gold. However, the tones of gold actually get lost in their reflectiveness, so unless you're looking at the color separator part dead in the eye, you will not actually notice the difference. I can't understand why they did not implement a transformable V-fin, because there needs to be a hinge in there to flip the V-fin forwards before they expand. So if they made a fully transformable V-fin, the V-fin will be extremely fragile. This thing has no painting potential, honestly, because it is coated, so if you want painting potential, scrape off all the gold, which will only be done by someone crazy enough to do that. And the most important thing of this thing is it's back heavy because of the two gigantic armor DEs, which was expected. However, the waist is not strong enough to hold it up, at least on mine. The major thing is the loose pieces, the loose head and the loose armor pieces, because I have to deal with them multiple different times. The armor on the arms would just separate, the thigh armor would just separate. Everything is not really that prevalent in the original unicorn mold, so to have those problems appear specifically on this thing more prevalently, it's really not forgivable, especially since this thing is expensive. Same goes for the side pieces on the feet. So that's it for me, and with all of that said, I'm going to give this guy a 67 out of 10. I cannot decide between the two, so strike an average of 6.5. I will not strongly recommend it, but I will actually recommend this thing. And this thing is actually a good seal off to complete either the Unicorn Trio or the Narrative Trio. So this is basically a collector's item, nothing more. So that's it for me. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you did like it, please be sure to drop a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Subscribe to the featured channels on my channel page if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out, guys. Bye-bye.